About Lashon Hara, you can't say Lashon Hara, you can't say bad words, bad things, because
bad energy.
You're hurting people
Hurting
by
yourself.
saying negative things, and you hurt yourself too. Absolutely.
You want to keep going on the footnote? These words.
These words become the letter that finds the Gentiles, showing them the beauty of the Jewish faith, which then inspires them to convert.
Pretty bold statement.
I think again it's the energy
Yeah.
that comes through, and it inspires people because something happens to the neshama that wakes
Yeah, but
them up.
it's like in a fourth dimension. It's not a third. It's not even a third dimension.
Right.
It's like a fourth. Like everybody's pushing this third 3D TV and 3D Wii and 3D games.
No, it's the fourth.
This is talking about even the fourth dimension. It's
Right.
even people don't even know what is happening,
Right.
and it's happening.
Right.
They must be disposed beforehand to these words. I mean,
He's
you can have
explaining.
a Rashi listening and just saying,
Right.
big deal,
Right.
you know.
So that's why Rabbi Nachman explains that this Jew who is in a place where he shouldn't be, when he hears this stuff, it resonates with him. The famous word resonates
question
by
also is-
Simon Jacobson. Resonates.
If we take that as a truth, the question then also is, what makes him disposed?
What
them
makes?
Disposed. What makes him open to hear?
Oh, because his original source of his being is
Soul.
good. Of his soul is good, and it's attracted to good. Just like anybody can get mixed up in the negative, bad things in the world, he also can pull himself out of that and be attracted to the good. And that's what Rabbi Nachman is explaining.
But still, there's an element there of understanding, and which requires more than just hearing.
Okay, but at least he's telling you how this thing even starts. Okay? Okay, so you want to go back to page 47 on the top. Now this gets very interesting here.
Was then?
Yes.
Then these words are written in the books of the nations, every province according to its writing. And so the Gentiles find things in their books which are contradictory to their religion.
What does that
Thus-
mean? How does it end up in their books? I'm not going to make believe I know what's going on here, because it's a little weird.
I guess the question is, so what is in the books of the nations?
Okay, keep going.
Thus we find that of late a number of converts converted because of this, because they found in their books contradictions to their beliefs.
Okay, but Rabbi Nachman is saying that the words of the tzaddik goes through the air and ends up in the writing of these people who wrote books about their own religion, and then people who read these books saw this message that the holy person said, and it makes them think this is fake when I'm reading. There's got to be something else. I mean, that's what it seems like he's saying. It's very interesting.
Well, it's true. I mean, there are other religions that have taken the Torah and used and changed it.
Right.
How about we say that every religion has taken the Torah and changed it? Christianity, Muslims, they've all taken up
Right.
Torah and changed it.
Yes. Right.
Every religion, well,
No,
maybe
that's not every
except
religion.
no, not
Buddhism
is
Hinduism
another
is
issue, but
different. It's
those
different.
two major religions
Right.
should have done
But
that.
the question I have is, what is actually ending up? Is it actually physically being written down? In other words, did a non-Jewish author write a book on religion that he didn't realize that what he wrote, he heard this energy from the holy tzaddik, and he wrote something down, and somebody who read that said,
Yeah, the whole Quran. It relates to the Quran relates to the Torah. It
Right.
follows the characters in the Torah.
yeah, I'm just trying to understand it also.
You have to understand, a lot of this
Changed, and
stuff was
Christianity's
translated.
changed it too.
Uh-huh.
The Torah was translated from Hebrew to Greek, and then
Yes.
it was translated from Greek to English to
Latin.
and then from Latin to French, English, so it was lost. So they interpreted it the way that they.
Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. To take
Yeah.
take things literally.
Yeah. They don't really have what we have because they're lacking all the wisdom.
Okay, so I just want to see the footnote. We didn't, I think, you want to read footnote 83?
83?
Yeah. Okay, no, so 83 is referring to that Mordechai, when he finally overcame Haman, says that his fame went out to all the provinces.
The element of contradictions is in 84.
Right, but we didn't say 83. Now we'll go to 84. You want to say 83?
You want me to read 83?
Please.
Okay. This was Mordecai's fame, which went out far and wide. Mordecai performed the ultimate charity, saving the entire Jewish nation from annihilation. His charity made the air tranquil and pure, so that his word, the holy word of the tzaddik, spread throughout the entire kingdom of Ashvarosh. As we see in the book of Esther, this caused many Gentiles to convert.
And let's do the footnote 84.
This comes about through the holy words of faith that now become written and inscribed in their books. These words have reached them through the tranquil air which comes about by giving charity. As mentioned, around the time of Rabbi Nachman gave his Torah lesson, a number of non-Jews converted after having found contradictory teachings in their own books.
I remember being in Israel, and I met a couple of women who converted. And I said, what made you convert? And they said, well, they got as far as they could in Christianity, and then they felt they wanted to know more. And so they started studying Judaism, and they converted, and they've been living in Israel.
I have something else to say. I mean, one of the things I've learned from being married to him about about Christian about formerly Christian converts to Judaism is Judaism we have halacha, which is it's rules you have to follow. It's codified. Judaism has parameters for what it is and what it isn't. Whereas in Christianity, like the writings are so vague that charismatic ministers are able to they take all these very vague ideas and they interpret however which way they want, and in many ways it's exploitative.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like for example, there were I was reading this lately. There were some gay activists who said something very interesting. They said, Yashka said a camel will go through an eye of a needle before a rich man will enter a kingdom of heaven. And most American Christians do not take that literally, and they all want to be rich. But somehow they're all very literal when it comes to homosexuals. And he said, why is that? And you know what? It's a good question. But it highlights a lot of what's wrong with Christianity. That it is vague and it is subject to a lot of self-serving exploitative interpretation and turns people off.
They go for the translation, and they don't necessarily know the deeper teachings behind the Torah.
Yeah.
They're just going for the translation.
So who wants to, okay, maybe I'll say a little. So continuing on page 47, how does it happen that they now find something which goes against their religion? This comes about because of the words of the tzaddik, which are engraved and inscribed in the air, as in my tongue is like the pen of a skillful scribe. And the air was pure and tranquil by means of wealth, which adds many friends, so that the words went out. His fame went out to all the provinces, becoming engraved and inscribed there in their books. As a result of this concept, they found in their books contradictions to their religion. So Rabbi Nachman went through this whole phase, this whole different levels of how this occurred. Right? We started out that the altar is defective. Right? There's energy, there's bad energy, and this holiness went to someplace else. Then Rabbi Nachman explained when the air is pure, a person can start to hear things, not just physically, but he starts to hear more spiritual things that appeal to him, not just physical things.
I have a problem with contradictions.
Yes, sir.
I mean, to see contradictions in the written in their books, to be able to understand contradictions, they have to experience something that shows a contradiction. I mean, if they're in a classroom outside of the world, I don't think that's possible. They have to understand experience. I think the convert has to experience something other than what is written. And their experience has to make them aware or enlighten them as to, hey, what's written here does not jive with reality.
Right.
So I think it's right. I think you're right.
Yeah, but people find out in Judaism also.
Right, but I think that you need understanding. I
don't want to be too simplistic here, but
it's the element of theory, the element of experience that they have to come. And when you bring them together, that's when you have the birth of ideas and the birth of whatever. We go forward that way.
Right. How are we doing with the time? It seems like the convert is not looking for the contradiction. It's presenting itself to him. That's what it seems like.
Well, I was just saying, a lot of converts are very sincere, but and then they see something that it really bothers.
Right.
And they were sincere, like you said before, they weren't things converting, but they were sincere, and now their sincerity is sort of contradiction.
I think we all have a sense of what's right or what feels right, what feels true to us. So if we go against that, if some teaching goes against what feels right inside of us, in our neshama, in our soul, then we want to find out more.
Yeah, but how many Jews are leaving Judaism? They're not hearing anything.
A lot of Jews.
And how many people are converting to Judaism or running to Judaism? Non-Jews are running to Kabbalah.
It's interesting.
Madonna and Ashton Kutcher and Demi. They're not together, unfortunately. So look at all the non-Jews running to Kabbalah, leaving all this other stuff that doesn't work for them, the church and all the stuff that's going on. I don't want to bash anybody. I just want to be open to stuff that's going on. There's 80% of the Jews are not observant, and you have non-Jews running to Judaism. Jews are still sleeping, and you have people converting to Judaism while more Jews are intermarrying and leaving the religion even more and more. So I don't know what's going on.
I felt that when I was in Poland with Shlomo. I went to Poland in 1992 with Shlomo, and it was so mixed up. It was rare to find 3 generations in Poland, of course, Jews. And then the Jews weren't interested, but there was like these non-Jews that were converting, but the girlfriend was Jewish, but he was more interested than she was, so it was that kind of thing.
Very weird stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Anybody have an explanation?
I wonder if it's new because we're basically the same population we were 4,000, 3,000 years ago.
In what sense?
Same
No,
number,
literally.
you mean?
A little.